Happy Wednesday! As you guys know, every Wednesday we have brand new episodes of the podcast, the Graduated and Grown podcast. And today's episode is a solo episode, and I am going to be pouring my heart and my soul out on this microphone for you guys. Okay, that's not true. But we are talking about something that I'm really struggling with and didn't realize that I was really struggling with, and that is making decisions and taking risks. Ooh, spicy. So, in literally every single aspect of my life, I struggle with making decisions. And I'm pretty sure some of y'all do too. Like, I know I'm not the only one with this problem, but I think that might actually be one of my biggest faults. The fact that I'm indecisive and I'm hesitant to take risks. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you guys aren't already following the podcast on Instagram, it's at Graduated and Grown. And if you're listening on Apple Music, please don't forget to rate this podcast 5 stars and feel free to leave a review as well. I would love to read some. So before we get into talking about my issues with making decisions and taking risks, we're going to do a topic of the week. We haven't done one of those in a long time. So you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy the Graduated and Grown podcast. I don't know about you, but I think adulting is hard. Figuring out your love life, finances, friendships, professional life, health, and how to make a freaking doctor's appointment on your own can be so overwhelming sometimes. So, welcome to Graduated and Grown, a podcast that's focused on helping you and me overcome the struggles of adulting. Let's have some fun yet honest conversations about life once you're graduated and grown. Okay, so we're back with the topic of the week. It's been I feel like it's been like weeks since we've done one of these, but still learning. So what I want to talk about today is the Triller Fight Club event that happened this past weekend. So if you guys didn't know, if you live under a rock, there was a fight, like a sponsored TV fight between Jake Paul, who's like famous YouTuber, and Ben, I don't know how you say his last name, Ben Askren, I think. And in all honesty, I didn't care about the fight. But what I cared about was the fact that all of my favorite TikTokers were in Atlanta, like living it up this weekend. And I'm like sitting on the floor watching them live it up. And I think this weekend has really just opened my eyes into the fact that I am fully invested into the world of TikTok. Literally, guys. Well, let me say this. TikTok is probably my favorite app at the moment. I love it. I always have a good laugh. I feel like I always learn something or I always get some tea on the app. But I'm literally fully invested into the drama side of the TikTok influencers. And sometimes I feel really immature, but then I'm like, who freaking cares? Yes, I'm 22 years old. Yes, I care about who Charlie D'Amelio and Dixie D'Amelio are dating. I am invested. And, I don't care because I know there's other people like me that were losing their minds last week with the Jaden, Nessa, Mads, and Josh situation. So I'm going to find my community of full adult TikTok lovers, and we are going to thrive with all this TikTok tea together one day. I just feel like since COVID, I think I've gotten a little bit more invested into the influencer world. Before, I had my favorite influencers or whatever, but I feel like I didn't really have time to really do a deep dive into their lives. But since this pandemic, one, my influencer roster has grown by 7%, not 7%, 70%. And I just feel like I'm so invested into their lives. I'm looking forward to their next vlog. I want to know this. I want to know that. And I'm definitely not somebody that puts people on a pedestal. I understand we are all human. We all make mistakes, yada, yada, yada. But I just love knowing what they're doing. If they make mistakes, I'm like, oh, girl, why'd you make that mistake? I'm acting like I'm one of their friends that just has no way to get in contact with them. But yeah, I just thought that would be an interesting topic of the week. Hopefully, at least some of y'all on this podcast that are listening right now understand or have something like this for you. So I think me being involved with the TikTok drama is immature. Maybe you're fully invested in, I don't know anything else that would even be related to this, but maybe there's something like that for you and you feel like you're so immature. But no, you're not immature. Okay, this is what you like and there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, that's all I really want to talk about for the topic of the week. I just wanted to get that off my chest. But now we're going to move into the fun part of the episode where I talk about my struggles with making decisions and taking risks. So let's get right into it. Overall, I would definitely say that life is going pretty okay. Like, I literally thank God every single morning for waking me up, and I would definitely like to continue waking up until I'm like at least past the age of 100. But at the same time, I definitely think life could be a lot better. And like, again, guys, I'm totally fine. Overall, like, I'm doing well, but let's get a little deeper, okay? So, like when you see people or when you're talking to people, they ask, oh, how's life going? I do that all the time. I get asked that question also, like, pretty frequently, and I always have a positive answer, which is 100% truthful. Like, I always say, oh, yeah, life is good. Life is going fine. Life is going okay. Oh, I'm really enjoying life right now. But I think at the same time, and sometimes it's kind of not all that great. Like, yeah. So basically, life is going well right now. Life is going fine. Life is okay. But I'm like, no, life isn't ideal right now. But literally, COVID has put a huge pause in my plans, rightfully so. I can't even imagine like still trying to do the things I wanted to do while this pandemic was going on. Who even knows if I would even be here if I would have gone ahead with a lot of this stuff. But yeah, huge pause in my plans. I hate it, but I get it. So last week, I had a really interesting conversation with my boyfriend. It literally kind of came out of nowhere. And basically, I kind of told him how I was just feeling about life. Like, overall, I'm happy with certain things in life. I understand that I am blessed beyond measures, and I am blessed, and I'm so thankful for it. But at the same time, I feel like things could be better, right? Some things could be a lot better. And on the average day, yeah, I'm in a good mood. Like, I smile, I laugh, I joke. I don't really have many bad days in all honesty, unless I'm in pain or unless I'm just like behind on something. But overall, I'm always in a very good mood. And that's always like all natural. And I'm definitely not faking it. I don't like faking happiness. I don't think I do it very well, in all honesty. I think I show my emotions on my face. If you're one of my friends and if I've kind of gotten in a mood around you, you can tell because I show it on my face. My demeanor changes. I wish I could fake it, but I'm not very well at that. But anyway, there are some times though where I'm like, ooh, what am I doing? Like, my life is not what I want it to be. And I'm, not very happy with that. And I feel kind of bleh on the inside. I was having it was either last week or the week before. And I just was not feeling it. And I was kind of down. I kind of got over it. I think I was watching TV. So that kind of helped me get out of it. But I kind of go through those moments. And so with this conversation with my boyfriend, he mentioned that, well, Ariana, a lot of your problems could be solved. But in order for them to be solved or for me to even be on that journey of them being solved, I have to actually make a decision and take the risks to get to that solution. Now that was interesting. You know how you just want somebody to comfort you and you don't really want a game plan? But no, he's like, no, like literally you need to create a game plan, make those decisions so you can get yourself out of this stagnant phase of your life, if that's what you want to say. It's like, for example, if you're not happy with like, I don't know, being in your childhood bedroom, move out. If you hate the fact that you don't have enough free time, make a decision and remove one of your activities. And so then give you guys a little bit more insight from the conversation. Justin literally reminded me that I have the hardest time making decisions. Usually it takes like days for me to make decisions. And a lot of times, a lot of those decisions are never resolved or there's never an outcome for the decision because I don't make it, or I just give up on it. And we actually talked about this. So based off of an experience, I think in 2019, Justin does not like to plan trips with me because I'm indecisive, which is 100% true. I can never decide on locations. I can never decide on like mode of transportation, on hotels, on activities. I'm terrible at it. And I don't know if that's because I'm interested in so many things or I'm like afraid to make decisions. I don't know. And like, for example, like we want to go on a trip for our anniversary, which is this summer. And I have yet to like choose a place or plan anything. And that's 3 months away. And at this point, I don't even know if it's going to happen. Maybe like we'll just do something basic, nothing really nice. But moral of the story, I suck at making decisions. And in all honesty, I don't like making them until I absolutely have to. And I would honestly prefer to have the least amount of options as possible. So instead of being presented with 25 options for cake flavors, I would much rather you just come to me with 3 cake flavors and I can pick from there. And it's the day before you need to have the cake made, you know? And also to add on top of that, I don't guys, I'm really giving you some insight into my life. But I don't think I'm good at making decisions on my own. Or let me not say that I'm not good, but I don't practice making decisions on my own. I literally always ask my mom for her advice on decisions, like literally all the time. Every single day, I'm getting her advice for something. And it could be the smallest of things to the biggest of things. And I definitely want to add, I don't think there's anything wrong with talking with others, like talking through decisions with others. But I think I need to become an adult and make my own decisions. And like for sure, my mom is amazing. It has great foresight, wisdom, all that stuff. But I think eventually I need to take the forefront and make those decisions for myself because I have to grow up at some point. Like I think still being at home, even though an adult, has put me back into this high schooler mindset, and it's tough. And I think a lot of the stuff I'm doing now I was doing in college, but it was different because I was more so on my own. And I don't think I would ask my mom about all the different decisions I needed to make while I was in college. And just even like looking back, the decision of picking a college was such a long process. The fact that I didn't make my decision until like the day before decision day is ridiculous. I mean, like, come on, girl, you had 9 months to make the decision. Why are you waiting until April 30th? So yeah, that's that about decisions. And then also, I was thinking like, when was the last time I took a literal risk? Yeah, like, yes, I take risks every time I get on the airplane because of COVID, but that's different. Like an actual risk, like stepping out on faith or stepping out, what is it? Stepping on your toes, stepping over a cliff. I don't know what the phrase is, but I literally couldn't even tell you the last time. I like this is a joke, but at the same time, I feel like the last risk I actually took was 2020 when I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, not the middle, but I was in the Atlantic Ocean on a cruise with my friends, and we were in the Bahamas and we did scuba diving. And your girl is not a swimmer, okay? I can survive, I think, but I cannot I'm not swimming in the ocean. That's not me. I've taken swimming lessons, but they haven't manifested themselves in my body yet. It's been like 15 years, but anyway, I feel like that was the last risk I took. Me being out in the ocean, not knowing what was in that water, swimming, kind of, not being able to swim. Anyway, like literally, I feel like that was the last risk that I've taken. And that wasn't even like a real major risk. And I play it safe way too often. Now, has playing it safe been good to me? Oh, heck yeah, for sure. Like I've really enjoyed my life. I've had some really, really great experiences. But I feel like there are so many things that I probably have missed out on because of my hesitancy and inability to make decisions all the time. Yeah, no bueno. I think part of what makes adulting so weird and so difficult to navigate is the fact that you're finally in that position to make decisions on your own. You're over your own finances. You control your social life. You know what I mean? Like for most adults that are out on their own, their families are not sending them money. For most adults that are out on their own, they don't have scheduled activities or they don't have scheduled times where they have to be with people their age. You have to make the decision to go out to the club and hang out with your friends. You have to make the decision to go to the game night at your cousin's house to see other people. You have to make the decision to pay your bills, to get your hair done, different things like that. And I need to do better with that. I know I do. How will I? We'll get there a little bit later. But what's so funny is that, so this episode is about making decisions, taking risks, right? And I'm actually reading a book right now. It's called Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. I actually learned about the book through a book club at my job. And I was like, oh, this book sounds intriguing. I love Shonda Rhimes. So yes, I want to read her book. But what's funny is the book is oddly aligned to the problem I'm having right now. So, just for a little context, if you haven't read the book, Shonda was very, very shy. And I'm sure she still is pretty shy. And she was very focused on her work. If you don't know, Shonda Rhimes is like a producer and or writer for some of the hit shows like How to Get Away with Murder, Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, Bridgerton, so many other shows, right? And so she's so focused on work. She's shy. She had 3 kids, right? And in the book, Shonda claimed that she didn't have time for anything else like going on talk shows or making commencement speeches or public speeches or doing this, and that. Until one day at Thanksgiving, her sister like kind of mumbled under her breath and said, "Ugh, you never say yes to anything." And Shonda literally took like days and weeks and was thinking about what her sister said. And she was like, "I never say yes to anything. Yes, I do. Yes, I do." But then she did some self-reflection and she realized, I don't say yes to anything. So many amazing opportunities have been in front of me, but I literally always say no. I always make excuses, right? And so after that, Shonda decided that she would commit to a full year of saying yes to all opportunities. Now that was crazy to me because I'm like, "Oh, girl, I got commitment issues. I don't know if I could do that." But this commitment, she was going to do it whether she wanted to or not. And this led to her doing a commencement speech at her alma mater, Dartmouth. She was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. She had to make a couple of different arrangements for that, but like she did that. And that was one of the best shows that Jimmy Kimmel's show has had. And the ratings went through the roof. And just so many different other things that she's done. I'm not finished with the book yet. So I'm not like even fully aware of her journey. But that book is like really aligned to my life right now. I think I do say yes to things, but I don't think I make a lot of decisions. A lot of the times I'll push it off or I'll say I'll get to it later. So, like, that's my version of no. And, I've pushed things off for a year, but eventually I'm going to have to face it, right? So instead of me like wallowing around and trying to like plan out my life to a T, I think I need to start saying yes. I need to make that decision. In all honesty, I need to move. I can't live at home forever. I need to put myself in new environments. I need to meet new people. I need to try new things. And yes, that does sound super scary. And my mind does instantly shut off whenever I try to think about it. But at the same time, I also think it's super, super exciting to think about starting something new. And what's so funny is the fact that I've never been one of those people that really wanted to stay close to home. I knew that after I graduated from high school, I wanted to go and experience something new. Even though one of my top schools was still in Michigan, I still knew in the back of my head, no, I kind of want to like get away. Like I want to experience something brand new. And that is what I did. Alabama was a whole new life for me, right? And I always said, yeah, I know I don't want to go back home after college. Like I want to live here. I want to live there. I want to experience new things. But literally, I am at home right now doing what I said I never would do. And again, yes, I know COVID is part of that reason, but I think now we're at the place where I can make decisions safely and continue to like grow in my adulthood, right? So, we're going to do this little exercise. Yes, you and I, we're going to do this exercise on this podcast together. And I want you to think, you and I are both going to think, what do you want your life to look like 1 year from now, 365 days from now, next April 2022, or if you're listening to this later, a year from now? What do you want your life to look like? And then after you think about that, I want you to think about the decisions that you need to make in order to get your life there. Okay. So if you need to pause this podcast and think about it, like go ahead. If not, I'll give you like 5 to 10 seconds to think. I'm going to get my thoughts together and then we'll share. Okay, so this is like a loose description of what I want my life to look like. Very basic, but in 1 year, I want to be living in my own apartment in a new state. In 1 year, I would like to be the owner of a dog or a pet in general. I really want a dog, but there's a lot that just comes with a dog. So if I'm not ready for one, I would just like a pet. not a cat, like something small. And a year from now, I want to be more confident in my work environment or just in workspaces. In 1 year, I would like to have traveled outside of the continental US. In 1 year, I would like to see myself being more spiritually comfortable. In 1 year, I'm not going to give specifics, but I have some financial goals that I want to meet. In 1 year, I would like for my YouTube channel to have over 5,000 subbies. And then last, but certainly not least, I think in 1 year, I would like for Graduated and Grown to have an even bigger audience. And I also want to hire some help. So those are some of the things that I personally want to happen by next year. And that's great. I have these plans, right? Like I have a whole vision board. A lot of the stuff is actually in there. But now I actually need to make decisions that will lead me there. So, for example, like when it comes to the apartment, I need to decide, okay, Ariane, do you want to live in the city or do you want to live in the suburbs? You've been toying with this literally for 8 months. I need you to make a decision. I need to decide, do I want to sacrifice patio space for a walk-in closet? Or do I want to pay $200 a month for garage parking or find somewhere with lot parking? Do I want a high rise or do I want a simple walk-in unit? So many different choices, but I think it's time that I make a decision and stop letting COVID make excuses for me. Stop letting friends and family make excuses for me. Stop letting work be an excuse for me. I need to stop that. Also, like when it comes to being more confident at work, I need to decide, am I going to invest in a confidence coach or am I going to reach out to that person that I know will be an amazing mentor in my life? Just overall, I need to stop being so indecisive, make these decisions and be willing to take the risks that go along with them. So there's a very, very good chance that I can move out next year, be in this completely new state where I barely know anyone and be completely lonely. But I think that's a decision and that's a risk that I need to take that I think will aid me in my adulting journey. I really feel like I'm very stagnant in my adulting right now because I literally make minimal decisions. Like I barely even decide what I'm having for dinner. Do I mind that? No, because it's so convenient not having to cook dinner every day. So before we close out this episode, I kind of wanted to talk about like how I'm personally going to be better with making decisions. And yes, talk is cheap, but these are some things that I really thought about and I really do want to implement them. And if you hear something that you like, I would definitely encourage you to implement them as well because we cannot be, it's not even being lazy, I don't think, but we need to make decisions. We need to take control of our lives. We need to take risks. Okay. That's what adulting is all about. So one of the first things that I want to start doing is I want to start journaling. I think this will be better with me making decisions because I don't think I have the best memory. So sometimes I'll think of things and then it'll be gone. So I think with me like documenting my thoughts and things that I'm experiencing, that'll help with my decision making. And it'll also help me remember how I was feeling when I was making these decisions. So that's something I definitely want to do. I'm literally looking at my journal right now. I found it. Secondly, this is definitely important, but I'm going to dedicate more time to thinking through decisions before presenting them to others and asking for their opinion. So I kind of want to have basically my own opinion or my own hypothesis or whatever kind of in my mind. So I'm not solely relying on this other person to basically kind of tell me what to do. Still want feedback, still want to get advice from other people, especially those that have had more life experiences than me. But at the same time, I also need to learn how to make my own decisions as well. Thirdly, like Shonda Rhimes, I am going to start saying yes more often. There are some things that I know I need to do, and I have not been doing them. But starting now, I definitely want to do that more. And that's definitely a risk for me, my little shy self. But I really do want to do this. The fourth thing I want to do is I'm not going to let logistics slow me down. I do it all the time. Like I said, I can never pick a hotel, I can never pick a location, I can never pick this. I can barely pick what I'm wearing every day. That's why I pack so much. So I really want to stop letting logistics slow me down. I don't need to spend 7 days to make a decision on basic things. So logistics, you're important, but we're only spending a certain amount of time on you. You're going to be well fleshed out, but you're not going to take 7 days. And then the last thing, I think more prayer will help me when I'm making my decisions. And if you're not religious, I'm sure you could think of something else that you could replace that with. But I think that prayer is a great way to guide my decisions. And even though sometimes I don't necessarily feel like I'm hearing God tell me, yes, Ariane, make that decision, or Ariane, take that risk, I think that prayer will still help me in that decision-making process, because I feel like I get kind of like revelations after praying about some things. So I think that'll be helpful. And so I encourage all of you guys to try implementing some of the actions that I mentioned into your daily decision-making experience. I forgot where I saw this, but we make like literally so many decisions every single day. And obviously I haven't actually started these actionable steps just yet, but I'm optimistic that I will stick with it and I'll see it change. And I really, really want to, guys. Like, there's so much. This sounds so weird, but I know I have so much potential, but I feel like my potential is not being met, or it's not being reached, because I'm holding myself back. I'm not making these decisions. I'm not like moving forward with my life. So that's that on that. This is kind of sad. Like, this just hit me. This is the second to last episode of Graduated and Grown for this season, guys. Like, this is episode 11. And y'all have really been riding with me since day one, okay? I appreciate those of you guys that have listened to every episode, one episode, half of 3 episodes. Again, I appreciate it. If you don't already follow the podcast on Instagram, it's at Graduated and Grown. I'm in the process of planning season 2, and I'm still looking for guests and topics. So if you have any suggestions, be sure to interact with the Instagram stories and DM me or DM me so I can know what you guys want to hear. And thank you for all of you that have like reached out to me personally and said that you really enjoyed the podcast. Like, the other day, I almost shed a tear because I just got some really, really good feedback. And having a podcast is different from a YouTube because I don't want to say it's delayed gratification, but it's like invisible gratification. People they can't like your episodes. They can't comment on your episodes. So like actually like DMing me means so, so much. So thank you guys that have done that. And again, I'm encouraging y'all to go and make those decisions. Let's be adults. Let's make our decisions. Let's make sure that they're well informed. Let's take some risks, because that is literally what adulting is all about. But all right, y'all, that's all I have for you guys this week. Next week is the last episode of the Graduated and Grown podcast for the season. Then we'll be taking a little break, because mama needs a little break. And I really want to come back like stronger than ever for season 2. I think you guys are going to be so excited, because I've already recorded a few of the episodes. And when I tell you they're popping, they are popping. Like, the guests are really, really, really good for season 2. They were really, really good for season 1 as well. But we have some new people coming into the mix. So I'm super excited for that. But I hope y'all have a great rest of the week. I will talk to you guys next week. And peace, love, joy, hugs, kisses, grace, love, decision making. I'm sending all of that to you. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Graduated and Grown podcast. I appreciate you so, so much. If you haven't already, be sure to rate this podcast 5 stars and subscribe to the podcast so you can get a notification every single time a new episode is posted each week. Also, don't forget to follow our Instagram at Graduated and Grown so you can learn a little bit more about our guests, about our topics, get some resources, and provide some feedback and or episode ideas for the podcast. All right, y'all, it was your host, Ariane, and I'll talk with you all next